Hi, hello, and welcome to another episode of The War on China. My name is Fernando Munoz Bernal, Fermuve, and I am joined today by the great, magnificent, and very eloquent Mr. Mario Cavolo today. Mario, how are you today?
Well, I'm doing fantastic. I really am. I'm doing great. And listen, I'm thirsty, Fernando. I'm very thirsty. Can I have a large Coke made by a slave, please? Quench my thirst.
Let's go with this one. Okay, no, let's start with what we planned on our last video. Basically, we're going to talk a little bit about this lady Jennifer Zheng and what she tweeted and was reposted by Mr. Gordon Chang. This tweets about China getting ready to nuke Japan if they ever send any soldiers into Taiwan. First of all, Gordon Chang, he's just a China hater, and he's just one of those clowns that is out there making the rounds in the media, trying to get some exposure. He's been wrong for 2 decades about the demise of China, so I don't know why media still hires him to talk to him and ask him what he thinks about China. But you always said that you wanted to read this last tweet, so let's have a go at this one, Mario.
Well, he's an advisor to the president, and what he has to say is China's leaders and flag officers get ready for this, folks, have a bloodlust, wanting to kill, not just wanting to kill, but wanting to kill in great numbers.
Yeah.
Okay, Gordon, right. Based on a fake video by a Falun Gong cultist. Okay, continue, Fernando.
The only thing I have to say about that is if you ever watch that video, let me tell you one thing. China does not produce such poor quality videos. I mean, the sound on that video is just terrible. So, no, that's not it. Okay, but let's remove this picture from here and continue with our topic today. Our topic today is, well, Fox News and their guest that they had recently. So let's just play that video so that you guys get to hear what he wanted to say to the audience. So let's go.
Watch here.
Play it.
We say we're woke. China is our labor supplier that drives our stock price even higher.
Vivek Ramaswamy is an entrepreneur and author of the forthcoming book, Woke Inc. It'll be out second week in August. And Vivek, welcome back here. I mean, listen, your entire book is about this concept. What do you make of the pushback now?
Well, look, I think Coca-Cola, Bill, is among those companies that has mastered the art of blowing woke smoke, that is using progressive values to cover up their actual business practices. It's a lot easier for them to talk about voting laws in Georgia than it is to reduce their own reliance on slave labor in China.
Boom!
Heard this man say, reduce the reliance on slave labor in China. Coca-Cola uses slave labor. Mario, your take.
When a small blogger, Falun Gong, fringe, slandering, libelous activist posts something like saying that this is a video with a voiceover that was obviously done by some woman sitting in her bedroom, right? Mm. When someone like that, who is not mainstream media, posts a video and says, this is proof that China is going to nuke its neighbor. Like, if you're going to nuke somebody, by the way, Fernando, I wanted to mention to you as an aside, if you're going to nuke somebody, don't nuke your neighbor, not your neighbor. Good idea. Right? If you're going to nuke somebody who's really far away with the wind going in the other direction.
It's like going camping and using your toilet upwind. You don't do that.
So not only that, she says, the subtitle in the video says that we will use nuclear weapons. And this is the subtitle. It says, in the English subtitle says, and use them continuously. How do you use nuclear weapons continuously? What is it? What, one a day for 30 days? Like one a day vitamins? I mean, it's just, okay, so wait a second now. Gordon Chang. So there's this fake video that China said they will nuke Japan, nuke their neighbor. Okay, I'm out of my mind here. Okay, and then Gordon Chang retweets it. He's an advisor to the United States government. He retweets it. By the way, as of today, it made Drudge headline, Drudge Report. It's a Drudge Report headline now. Okay, this fake video, and it links to the Sun, UK. So now this thing is worldwide. This video that says that the Chinese government, like put out by Hua Chunying or Zhao Lijian, the official Chinese government says we're going to nuke Japan and we're going to do it continuously. Oh yeah. Okay.
We had this yesterday, and now it's all over mainstream media. It's insane. I mean, it's insanity. But Mario, let's drop this because we know that this is insanity and this is really stupid. Let's get on to the Coca-Cola ad and this guy that actually went on mainstream media to say that Coca-Cola uses slave labor. What is your experience in terms of Coca-Cola, China, slave labor? I don't know. Tell us your story.
Thank you so much. Let's get more serious. And because we're using this small fringe example as an example to compare to what's going on with Fox News. If you have a small fringe activist who's crazy, putting up something fake, okay, you can understand that. I mean, they're small, they're a blogger, whatever they're doing, they're a little bit crazy. They want to get attention. But what do? Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have a very serious conversation now about this idea that you have what do you do when it's mainstream media who's making these allegations? Now, when Fox News interviews this guy is coming out with his new book called Woke Something or Other. I mean, this isn't news. This is Fox News helping the guy do a book release for his new book. It's PR. It's propaganda. I don't mind that. Fine. I wrote a book. I'd like some PR for my third book on China. I'm getting it. Great, but this guy, they're making, and Fox News is condoning this, that Coke is using slave labor. Now, I don't understand. Where's the lawyers? I'll let you cover that later, Fernando. But here's what I have to go back now and take 5 minutes, and I got to tell all of you guys a story. Coca-Cola and myself are very similar in one very, very important way. We are both members of the American Chamber of Commerce in China. The American Chamber of Commerce is a respected, important, beautiful organization who exists for the purpose of business advocacy for its company and individual members like Coca-Cola, like myself, like Dow Chemical, like think of any other major American company that you can imagine, okay? They do business advocacy on our behalf. They arrange events for all of us to come together. They do government advocacy. So they're the ones regularly interfacing, the board of directors for the American Chamber in China and all over the world, by the way. They interface with government to advocate for American business interests, no politics. The government and American Chamber, along with the U.S. consulate, the consulates and embassies in China, all talk to each other regularly. And even at social events, a monthly consulate briefing for American citizens overseas, like myself, we attend. We see Coke executives and other multinational executives. We shake hands. We say hello. This is normal. Do you think under these circumstances that Coca-Cola could get away with slave labor? Do you think they could be a member of the American Chamber of Commerce if they were running a slave labor operation out in Xinjiang? It's impossible. Do you think that the Shanghai government, or the Beijing government, because this is where AmCham is located, American Chamber is located, do you think they would let them get away with that? I mean, it's so beyond ludicrous. I don't know where to begin. Now, above and beyond what we've already told you in previous episodes, Coca-Cola, Apple, Volkswagen, Skechers, Muji, Esquel, and a couple of other companies have all already stated clearly, debunking the forced labor accusation, that over the course of decades, they performed, announced, and unannounced inspections and have never found a forced labor violation. So there it is. Party's over. The accusation has been debunked. And now, where is this information coming from? Fresh and new from the mainstream media, from Fox News. This is what we're up against. We're up against a situation where the media is dangerous. They're a danger and a threat to the stability of the United States, to the world that we live in, to good relations, by having this guy, this schmuck, this guy, whoever the hell he is, coming on there and saying, fresh again, here in July, in the summer of 2021, after it's all been debunked, that Coca-Cola is running slave labor. Please, give me a break. This is crazy. Fernando.
Mario, I need to say something, and something that we've said before, but when you listen to us, we are experts in the terms that not only do we know a lot of stuff, but we have experienced a lot of stuff. We've had lots of cooperation, lots of collaboration, lots of projects with local governments and provincial governments and whatnot. And as I learned earlier, you, Mario, have been invited by the Center for China and Globalization to talk next month, if I'm not mistaken, or at the end of this month, to ambassadors, to government officials, to entrepreneurs, to CEOs about China and about doing business and about, well, what it is like to be here and live here these years. So, gentlemen, when you listen to Mario talk, you're talking to somebody who speaks of very high levels of government, entrepreneurship, and business. It's not just a regular YouTuber, which is why it is my honor to have you here as a co-host of The War on China. So, Mario, do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. Fernando, thank you. I appreciate the point. It's very important, because in our ways for you to realize who we are in China, and I say this with great humility and for the blessings that we have in our lives, for myself and for so many people that I know. I'm a senior fellow for the Center for China and Globalization, and they invited me to attend the end of this month, their fifth annual big event in Beijing. And they didn't invite me only to attend. I was very surprised and honored and grateful that they also invited me to be a speaker, as Fernando mentioned. So I appreciate it. And this is why when we say to you, we're the experts, we know what we're talking about. What we say to you, you can take it to the bank. This is why we're not talking from our egos. We're talking from letting you know, in the position that we're in, the people that we know, the efforts that we made, we're very fortunate, but we're very, very serious about this idea that I've said to you. We only talk about information that is demonstrably true. I love the new word, right? Apodeictic. Okay, not assertoric. I love that word from the Greek, from Aristotle. Apodeictic means demonstrably, certainly true and evident. Not assertoric, which is another Greek word, assertoric and rhetoric, right? Which is just assertion with nothing behind it, or with fake information. And this is the difference. Anything and everything that you hear coming from us, the key points that we're making, are based on what is evidently, observably, demonstrably real and evident and true, period.
Yeah, it's very important to point out that media is out there throwing all these stories about China, and lately about people like us, YouTubers, commentators, people who are here on the ground trying to tell you how things are. I just want to point something out very quickly. This account from Twitter, he's a PhD, Mr. Kurzweil. He was actually banned from Twitter for telling good things about what he saw and experienced in Xinjiang. So he's a PhD telling people, hey, whenever people ask me about Xinjiang, all I can say is there's good things. Well, he has been banned by Twitter. Now, it's important to remember something clear. China is attacked left and right by mainstream media, but where did this start? We are now at the point where the government of the United States is passing legislation in the Senate, passing bills, banning all goods from Xinjiang. But where did that start? We have, for example, NATO telling us that they need to do something to contain China. Have a look at this that was posted on Twitter today. Basically, this is a list of all the things that China is doing well, and they consider that a threat to NATO. So all they're doing is just smashing their sabers on the ground, starting to make noise in order to, well, rally people behind the idea of going against China. When you think about it, when you listen, when you see that list from NATO, the only threat that China poses to the world and to the United States and Europe is simply showing that there's a better way of doing things. There's a better way of dealing with COVID, for example. You've seen what's happened abroad. There's a better way of doing things regarding poverty. Look what they have accomplished. There's a better way of dealing with terrorism and radicalization, as they've done in Xinjiang. There's a better way of dealing with capitalism. That's the only threat that China poses to the world, showing that there's a better way of doing things. And that's why they're attacking China. Now, all these fake experts, they like this guy. Let me show you this gentleman, the one that we just saw on the Fox News. He doesn't even know what he's talking about. Watch this video.
So it's now no surprise that every time they're pressed on their human rights abuses in the Xinjiang province with the Uyghur human rights crisis.
This guy is calling Xinjiang Shenzhen. And he doesn't know that it's an autonomous region. He calls it a province. And this is the guy that Fox decides to put on live TV, national TV, accusing Coca-Cola of using slave labor. I mean, it's ridiculous. Now, today, there was another element that came up, another fake expert, Mr. Kushner, Ashton Kushner. He came out saying that, well, China can use TikTok to paint a possible war against China in the South China Sea in a negative light so that America doesn't come out okay in this. I have the clip, but it's too long and I don't think we have too much time to show it. But this is another person who has absolutely no idea what he's talking about. Let me ask you a question to you, the listeners out there, regarding Taiwan. When the Kuomintang was defeated, they left the mainland and they went to Hainan and they went to Taiwan. When they went there, did they invade any territory? Did they invade another country? No, they didn't. They went into China, islands of China. And in the end, the Red Army and the PLA, they went into Hainan and recovered it. And they left the Kuomintang in Taiwan. Taiwan is China, plain and simple. So, Mr. Kushner, shut up. You have no idea what you're talking about. And if you're worried about all this possibility of using social media to discredit American military, well, think a little bit about what the West has done with the social media. This is all a distraction for the whole Pegasus situation and all the hacks that we've been seeing. Now, Mario, do you have any comments on, well, these experts that we just talked about? Because, you know, I'm going to introduce Adrian Sands. What is your take on him?
Yeah, I know. And my comment is that this Mr. Zenz that you're going to talk about, you know, he is just another person who is doing the same thing. They're putting out assertoric propaganda with no evidence, or with evidence that they claim is evidence, which very quickly becomes debunked as evidence. I mean, I pointed it out in my own Uyghur Xinjiang video last year and a half ago, September 2020. I did one of the very first Xinjiang Uyghur videos. You've done several too, Fernando. You know, pointing out that, well, the satellite image that they were referring to in Xinjiang, that's a supposed concentration camp, is actually, you know, a 5-star hotel, and another one is a chicken farm. I mean, it's just ridiculous. There's no sense to any of this. But in my own mind, I want to keep. My mind is on this Fox News things with Coca-Cola today. I'm livid about that one. Go ahead.
All right, so let me talk about this Mr. Sense. He has been throwing anything he can at China. He started with construction materials. He found some data publicly available about the amount of construction material that was being delivered to Xinjiang. To do what? Well, to build infrastructure. His theory, to build mass incarceration and camps. Obviously, that was debunked. When you go to Xinjiang and you see the amount of development and infrastructure, you see like, well, this is where all this construction material is going. Now, the second thing that he tried was the situation with the IUDs and talking about genocide, how they were trying to prevent Uyghurs from growing in population. Well, the truth of the matter is that the census proved that this is not so. And many other people have actually pointed out that the end of the one-child policy and the application of the new fertility policy in China is now including all the minorities. So there's your changes in, well, fertility and birth rates. Now, the other thing that they tried to throw was cultural genocide. They just changed the word. It's not genocide as such, just cultural genocide. Then YouTubers started going there, like myself and like many others, and we started showing that culture is there, language is there. They're teaching the language. You can see the language everywhere. It's even on the radio, as we showed in other videos. And now what finally got to stick in people's minds is forced labor, the idea of forced labor. He found some documentation and now he's like, oh, this is a horrible thing. This is unprecedented. Now, Mario, I have a question for you. Why do you think forced labor is the one that's actually holding on the longest?
Yeah, the forced labor one is the one that they're sticking with, isn't it? Man, the thing is, I was just thinking like you were talking, man, they are good at the West. They are so good at this propaganda game. I mean, they're much better at it than China. They're brutally good at it. They're just so good at this deception and manipulations. It's just incredible. And when you think about it, it's been going on for 70 years. And the reason what's going on with the forced labor accusation now, why is that the one they're honing in on? Because it is the most effective form of economic terrorism that they have. It's honing in on business. It's creating a situation where they can economically, for example, destabilize the business sectors like cotton, and solar panels. And so by destabilizing it, they're creating this destabilization, and then they can go in and steal some of the business. They're trying to steal. That's what it boils down to. The same thing what they're doing with Huawei. They're just trying to steal away the business. It's economic terrorism and forced labor. That's the one they're honing in on. That's what it is. That's strategy. It has nothing to do with facts and truth, and it sure as hell doesn't have anything to do with the fact that they're concerned about the Muslims and they want to help the Uyghurs. They're hurting the Uyghurs. They're causing them to lose their jobs.
Correct. Now, I'm going to show the video that shows exactly how ignorant this fake expert is. So let's play it up. This is Adrian Sanz. I apologize for this.
So this document is from the TBEA website.
TBEA is the parent company of Shinta Energy.
What it says is something that's so unprecedented. I've never seen this. The company not only accepts labor transfers of Uyghur workers from the government, the company actually has a poverty alleviation cadre. A cadre is a government official. What do poverty alleviation government officials in Xinjiang do? It says literally in the text, the cadre enters households, talks face to face with the poor, spreads the party's policies, and then it says literally prescribes the right medicine, meaning implements targeted poverty alleviation according to the actual situation of the household. And as a result, the thinking of the villagers has been greatly changed.
Here's what I have to say about this. Mario.
You got to get it's career counseling from the government officials in your home. In America, you got to pay tuition and get it through a university.
Sure,
it's career counseling. They're trying to help you. They're trying to help you with your job placement.
You and I have actually seen up close, and we can't talk about these details, about all the poverty alleviation projects and how personalized they are. But I want to show a very short clip that I shot in Wuhan, where I actually experienced exactly what he is describing. Let's watch.
One thing that I find very interesting is how personal these projects of poverty alleviation are. As I mentioned in another video, what they do is they come and they talk to the family. This is a picture of the family, and they own this business. They talk to them and they find out what are their strengths, what do they know, what can they do to help, and together they put together a plan for this particular household. That's your government at work, improving your life. It's money spent on bringing people out of poverty, as opposed to waging wars around the world.
So again, as I was telling you guys, the only threat that China poses to the world, as we have been able to show you here, is that it's showing that there's a better way of doing things. Instead of spending money trying to make people suffer and terrorize people throughout the world with wars, we'll invest that money in bringing people out of poverty. This is exactly what Adrian Sands was talking about. They go to their homes, they ask them, hey, what do you do? What can you do? How can we help? What can we come up with together? And they come up with plans that are personalized. Mario.
He said, but he meant it the wrong way. He said, this is unprecedented. I've never seen this before. Yeah, in other countries, the government doesn't go to your home and you don't have to pay, and the government goes to your home and assesses your situation, helps you find a good, appropriate job placement. In America, in Europe, in the West, you have to get that through universities and colleges. You got to pay tuition. You got to pay for that. Here in China, the government officials do it for you in your home, and they do it for free. You're damn right, Adrian Zenz. It is unprecedented, and you've never seen it before. You bet.
But we have seen it for 40 years, for the 21 years that we have been here, right? I've seen it here in Guangdong. I've seen it in the south of China. I've seen it all over the coastal areas of China. That's how they developed this area. That's how they became the superpower that they are today, by bringing talented people with certain skills, certain knowledge, certain abilities down to these regions through programs that sometimes are university programs, sometimes they're government programs, sometimes it's just companies that go and find people in other places of China to bring them to the areas where their talents, their skills, and the work is needed. That's what they do. So here's what I have to say. It is unprecedented, but it isn't really. When you think about it, if you ever had a pair of Adidas shoes, Nike shoes, Bali bag, an iPhone, a computer, a peripheral, all those things were made in Guangdong, in China, using labor transfer that Adrian Sands is describing. It's exactly the same thing. It's only taking place in Xinjiang now. And, well, he's in a crusade to destroy the economy of Xinjiang. That's the only reason. If you have witnessed the benefits of buying cheap products in Australia, in the UK, in the United States, you've got mobility of labor, transfer of labor to thank for, because that's the only way that was possible. China made it possible by bringing people from different parts of the country into certain areas like Guangdong to manufacture these products. Now they're starting to move all this production, all these factories, all these industries into other areas that need to develop as well. And now that's what you see. You see people moving into Xinjiang, a lot of hands moving to Xinjiang to work and to set up industries, and a lot of people from within the province moving from one place to another to first get educated, get trained, get the skills that they need, and then find employment somewhere else. So that's the government actually doing exactly the same thing that they've been doing for the last 40 years, when nobody in the West gave a damn about this mobility of labor. But now it's Xinjiang. Now we need to disrupt the BRI. Now we need to work with all the countries around China to try to destabilize and change their governments and create some color revolutions and create trouble so that the BRI does not prosper. That's what's taking place. That's what the fake expert is telling you and trying to make you believe. And here's the problem. When a fake expert, when a charlatan like this one gets media coverage, that creates popular support. People start to believe that this is true. This is why this show is so important. This is why we need you to share these videos so that more people get to see them and more people get to see what we have to say. Real experts, real people with real experience here in the country. That's what we need you to help us with. You don't need to do anything. Just share this on social media, because this popular support is what actually fuels the government bans, is what fuels the Senate bill that now is forbidding all products from Xinjiang, as if Xinjiang were like a toxic place.
That was beautiful. Did you do all that out of your head just now? That was that was so good. You got me. You got me. I was like, oh, whoa, this guy's on a roll. He's on a roll. Fernando, you just said it so damn well. So now I want to reward you by offering you a slave labor job. Let me describe it to you. Okay, let me offer everybody watching in America and Europe a slave labor job. Are you ready? We're going to send you to Guangdong in a factory. We're going to figure out where you're going to go. Here's what we're going to do. I want you to compare this to what you have 50% of Americans who don't have a penny of savings in their savings account and can't save a dime. I want to offer you a slave labor job. Listen, here's how it is. I guarantee you a job, a regular. Now, it's not fun. It's not sexy. It's not bad, but it's not fun and it's not sexy necessarily. Okay. But here's what it is. I guarantee you in your hand, socking away in the bank every month, $600 net every month, net, after your bills are paid. You're going to get housing. You're going to get your 3 square meals a day in the company restaurant, where every meal is made fresh, by the way, including halal and Uyghur food if you happen to be a Muslim. And it's all there, and all your medical. And at the end of the day, at the end of the month, you're going to put $600 a month in the bank. That's what they call your slave labor. Give me a break, okay? Listen, this economic mobility thing. Look at Europeans. No, Europeans don't stay home. The first thing they do when they graduate from high school, they do or after a year or two of college, they do a gap year. The parents say, "Get the hell out of here. Go to London. Go work for a year. Go travel around with a backpack." Everybody moves around and travels around and finds work. That's not unique to Chinese or Uyghurs in Xinjiang. It's what human beings do all over the freaking planet. Fernando, by the way, congratulations to you. I know this Pacific Dialogue has excerpted our videos from these episodes, myself and you. They're interviewing you this coming week. Tell us, congrats. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, they contacted me and they said that they like what I do and they like the message, and particularly they like the way that we're portraying this, because we are, as I've said in many of my tweets, a show like no other coming out of China. We are the experts and we're angry, and it shows. Our passion shows. So they're very excited about what we're doing and they want to talk to me a little bit more about that. Hopefully we can do it together. So let's see what they have to say. Now, guys, I want to finish today's stream with one very simple thing. Congratulations to Qingdao for having actually launched the first maglev that travels at 600 kilometers an hour in the world. And Mario, I guess that's all the time we have for today. Go have a Coke, free of slave labor.
Oh, yeah.
Bye, guys.